I think the easiest way to figure out what needs to be automated is auditing your time. And as soon as you start auditing your time, you'll start to see redundancies of things you're doing every single day in and day out.
Basically take your whole process, write it all out so that you have a good understanding yourself of what needs you have. And then when you're meeting with these different companies, ask those types of questions and make sure that it's going to fulfill your needs in it, to make sure it's a product that's going to fit you well.
All right. Welcome to episode 3. We're already on episode 3. Man, time is flying.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, right?
It is, yeah. So
we're here, Cole Nelson, Maverick Construction and Legacy Skis.
I'm Blake Waters with Bluff Valley Campground Insignia Screen Printing.
Perfect. We just want to thank you guys again, everyone, for tuning in, sticking with us as we continue to learn the podcast space, and we hope you guys are getting something out of it and enjoying some of the content that we got. Definitely be getting some new speakers in here and really engaging some business owners. So again, just want to say thanks to everyone for hanging in there with us, and hope you're enjoying it as much as we are.
Yeah, we're deep diving into some of the goods and the bads about business. We've talked about goals, we've talked about building relationships and community and how much that means to business and how that can help you and the community. So this week we're kind of just gonna break things down on the back end side for the experience. When a customer walks in the door and wants something done, what does that look like? And maybe what are some things that we've done that have either improved or maybe not improved, and we've had to back up pretty quickly to make sure things keep running smoothly. We're just going to kind of dive into that and just just show what the customer experience kind of looks like and the outcome at the end of the day.
Yeah, so I think we'll start off. Both of us feel that it's important to have some kind of a customer management system. There's got to be a way that you keep organized to make sure that you're following up on jobs that you need to get followed up on. Make sure that you're getting back to people in a timely manner. There's nothing worse off to start the first contact that they have, whether they reach out via email, via phone, fill out a form online. If you get that submission and you don't follow up for a week or 2 weeks or even a few days, those submissions should be made, they even say within 5 minutes of that. That's when that person is engaged. They've looked at either an ad, they've been on your website, and they're focused on whatever service it is that you have. So having that management system to manage that for you, that lead, and send those reminders to make sure that from the beginning that customer feels that they're your top priority at that given time. So I think that's a good place to start with that customer experience, because first impressions are
everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
everything. If you start off that way and you're unorganized and you're fumbling through everything, that's only gonna carry forward to maybe the work that you do and everything else. So I think really having that, we have our own software that we use that's more construction related, and there's definitely adjustments that we make all the time based on what works and what doesn't, and organizing and making sure all the team members are on the same page and understand how to use it. But I guess what's some of the things that you use on your end for the screen printing side that or your customer management system? So
a big one that we use is HubSpot. It just helps kind of gather all of that information and make sure we're staying up to date on everything. We use a shop management system as well. That's really specific to the screen printing world. Mm-hmm. But the HubSpot, you can integrate it into your website. So when people contact you, it automatically imports into there. You can keep track of all the conversations, whether there's certain things that they mentioned during the conversation, you can highlight that in there. You can set tasks directly to that customer and that job. So, if a customer contacts me and they need something done by a specific date or something, especially in the screen printing world, everything's very time sensitive and everybody needs their stuff. And if they get their shirts the day after the 5K, that's probably not going to be so good. So
like that. Yep.
Just being able to really, be able to open up one dashboard and easily view everything that's going on day to day. And if a customer calls in and maybe they got a question, I can literally just click on their folder, pull up all the information, and we're, rocking and rolling, and I'm not fumbling through stacks of paper trying to find that sticky note I stuck behind the computer and I can't find it, or maybe the dog ate it or something. And so HubSpot's been a really big help, and it can kind of help like forecast some of the future income as well.
Sure.
Just kind of tracking that. Obviously you have your percentages on stuff that close, and you can kind of base that just to kind of get a bigger picture on where you're headed, and if you're hitting
the
those goals like we talked about in the first episode.
Yep.
So you're never going to hit those goals if you don't stay focused and organized. And
a lot of those programs, I've seen it a lot too, where if you don't fully commit to using that software, you're not going to get the right information out of it. And whether that's trying to hit the goals or closing rates or your ticket items or average ticket item per lead or per job, if you don't put those numbers in there correctly and accurately and know exactly how that system spits those numbers out, it's not going to do you any good on the back end. You're not going to get that good information so that you can make those decisions, changes that you need to make if you're having bad feedback. So make sure you know those intricacies of each CRM, and that's going to be different for each one and each industry.
And that was definitely one thing I struggled with kind of in the beginning of jumping onto the CRM side of things. We had our shop management system a lot sooner than the CRM, but getting the CRM out, I would build out all these systems and get working on it, and then I wouldn't stay disciplined to it, and then I fall behind, and then you got to set the tone right away and just stay disciplined using it. You got to look at your to-do list on there that it gives you automatically, because there's different tasks that you can automate and whatnot.
And I would say it's definitely easy, especially when you get caught up in it and everything's busy, to fall off. And I had a similar experience of doing that, where you spend the off season or your slower times redesigning something, and you think it's going to be great, but you don't realize when you're busy you might not fill out those. We had forms that we were working on filling out, where we do a full inspection of the home, and the form was very detailed and made you take pictures of it. But we didn't do it at all this summer, and that caused a lot of issues for us, just not having the correct pictures. So when we go out to a house, we want pictures all the way around the house, every elevation, whether it was a roof problem, a roof repair, it didn't matter. We wanted pictures of the whole entire house, and we got away from that at the year, and so that would cause us to go out to the job 2-3 times, or a homeowner would ask about something, or maybe there was damage to a house that may or may not have been there before we started, but we didn't have pictures of it to say that it was or wasn't us. And so simple things like that seem to fall off, even if you have the best process or best intent, if you don't work on those things or stay disciplined with them.
It's got to become part of your daily routine to go and look through those, and and it can get overwhelming by all means. Like, there's so many different ones out there, and there's some that are super complicated, and I would honestly recommend just picking one that is as simple as possible. It kind of checks off, the top ones on your box of whether it's, invoicing, or whether it's, inbox management, or it's job management, or, cold outreach, or whatever type of, service you're kind of trying to need some help with. But the biggest thing is just keeping everything organized and staying on track. Being able to hit those goals are a lot easier when you can see the big picture and you can be very organized and right to the point. So
maybe what's a little bit of getting back to the customer experience? How does that look like for a customer when they're asking for a T-shirt or design, or maybe it's artwork? What are some of the things that maybe you've learned that work and don't work as far as presenting that design or that estimate to the customers?
Sure. So I think a big part of it is speed, like you kind of mentioned in the beginning. There's that initial message when they send it to you. It's important to get back to them right away. You'd be surprised. I've actually done some tests sending emails to other competitors, not like local really, just nationwide, of people that I've kind of looked up to and just kind of see how they do it. Mm-hmm. And you'd be surprised how many people will take a day, 2 days, and sometimes even a week to respond. Well, by that time they've already found someone else. So that was kind of the first thing I seen, just doing some back end research and, making sure that they at least know that I looked at it and I'll be getting back to them. It's not that you have to like have a full blown quote and whole thing, over to them right away, but like, hey, I got your message. Yep, I'll get that to you here, and then just kind of give them a time frame. I'll get what you're asking for over in the next day, or whatever that be. So that's the biggest thing. Being quick on that first response, and then going from there. With the CRM, we've been able to implement speed on the back end as well. So being able to kind of take in the garments that they're looking for, some of the artwork, and we kind of have it all automated on the back end. So sure. I'll kind of do some of the inputs on my end. I'll send it over to our graphic design team. They will work on that. They'll change the status. That'll send a notification right back to me. I'll take that, the mock-ups and everything, review it, make sure everything got translated correctly, because that's just how that goes, when you're taking from what one person told you to another, there can be some overlaps. So I'll take that, I'll send that right to the customer, and then there's automation right in there as well for them to approve, decline, and pay. So I try to have it as seamless as possible from the time they put in what shirt they want to getting the quote sent to them for them to approve it as well. As little back and forth as possible is best. It causes less friction, less chances for them to get maybe cold feet and go elsewhere, or just not even order in general. Yeah,
and I heard you say automations in there a number of times. How did you get to the automations part? Was there definitely some sore spots that maybe it was lacking, or translation, or maybe just efficiency in your time?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to figure out what needs to be automated is it kind of goes back to what we talked about last week in episode 2, is auditing your time. And as soon as you start auditing your time, you'll start to see redundancies of things you're doing every single day in and day out. Whether it's sending messages over to your graphic designer, we quote out anywhere from 30 to 100 jobs in a week. And if I had to run over to his desk and tell him every single time something needed to be done, I would be getting my steps in, that's for sure. So,
and that's just not an efficient use of anybody's time.
No.
There's just better ways to do things.
So auditing your time and breaking down, do I really need to be doing that? No, we can do a simple click of a button. I change a status. It sends him an email. He knows that something needs to get done. When he gets done with that, it sends me an email saying it's done. I get to review it and then send it off. So, that's not exactly the full customer experience, but it's the back end of how we provide that experience of being efficient and getting a good product out the door as quick as possible. And so, there's a lot of different automations you can do out there. That's just the tip of the iceberg for things that we automate.
Yep. No, and I think we touched on it a little bit, is there's a lot of different CRMs that can provide an absorbent amount of back-end automations or back-end information or data, and it's definitely important, I feel, but as a small business owner and getting your, kind of get things moving, unless you are a, employer of, 50 to 100, there's definitely has to be some levels of where you're going to be. And I think that's sometimes can be shrewd as you need the biggest and best thing, but it's just not fit for you. And there's definitely some that I've seen and worked in that, they're great systems. There's nothing bad that I can say about them, except the fact that you need literally someone on staff that manages that system every single day. And that, as a business owner, there's no way that you're able to do that. So again, our advice, the summary of this is making sure that CRM system that you have in place fits your needs. And it is simple, because it doesn't need to be sophisticated necessarily on that.
If someone was looking to jump into the wormhole of CRMs, which is a good wormhole, because you need it to get your business to the next level. But and by wormhole, I mean, there's so many different ones that are offered out there. What's the main thing you would maybe look for if you're the first timer ever looking to get a CRM?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I would look for in a CRM, all of them are going to offer demos. So obviously do a demo with them so that you understand it. But I would start before you get on any of those demos, just writing out what is your process, all the way from a lead intake to sending a Google review after everything is paid and closed, and look at all your steps in there. The CRM that we use is a whiteboard style, and so it's very simple in the tasks. There's everything from lead intake to appointment scheduled, estimating, pending customer signature, jobs in progress, etc. And so basically take your whole process, write it all out so that you have a good understanding yourself of what needs you have, and then when you're meeting with these different companies, ask those types of questions and make sure that it's going to fulfill your needs in it. To make sure it's a product that's going to fit you well. And like we had talked about, there's a lot of them out there, and there's a lot of similarities between them depending on the services that you offer. But I think writing out your process is definitely a key thing yourself to understand.
Underlining what you really need, and then just putting those pieces together. You already know what you need. Just got to go out there and make sure you find the right one. But
yeah, no, absolutely. And so I think moving past, the CRM, so we've talked about the estimating side of it, and that the other part is the production, and that really for the customer experience is, that's where all the magic happens, if you will, and that's what they're going to remember you of. So, making sure that with the products that you're delivering and thinking through all of the thing, it could be, from your side, probably, the delivery, the boxing, and how everything is shipped. My side is going to be more, how we show up on the job site, our cleanliness, what products are we installing. We have different tarp systems to keep the, yards and everything as cleanly and look as professional as possible, because we're working on people's homes.
It's all the little things, just showing up in nicer, newer vehicles, not that they have to be new, but like just well taken care of. People can tell if you got stuff just laying all over in your truck and it's an absolute mess versus you come in, it's a nice clean truck. Obviously, they're still work trucks, so there's obviously normal wear and tear on vehicles, but making sure your box isn't just hanging off and barely holding on, that it goes a long ways to just show what type of work you're going to be doing. That just all kind of ties into the customer experience, being kind on the job site, getting things done in a timely manner. And
I want to back up 1 second about that. I think a huge thing that misses these days is communication. And, we've talked about it leading up to this, but especially whether it's when they're going to get their, new apparels or shirts or designs or when we're going to show up on the job, communication is huge. And especially, you're working around people's livelihoods. It's their home. They come and go, might have kids going to school, birthday parties, etc. And really communicating with that customer is such a big part of any industry that you're in, or service industry or business, and to make sure that you're very, very clear about the expectations, the expectations of the homeowner and expectations that, the homeowner should have for us being there. So,
all right, touching on that customer experience still here and like the production side of things, obviously we're human and not everything happens as planned. Has there been a time that really sticks out where, something happened, but you just had to do the right thing to make sure that customer got the best experience possible?
Yeah, well, I want to touch on a couple of them. One is, like you said, mistakes do happen, and making sure that you own those mistakes. We've had a couple situations where we've gotten involved after the fact, and when a different company has come in and not provided that customer experience or expertise on a few jobs. And to be frank, it's very frustrating when that happens in any industry, and I think it just really goes to show the character of the people that are out there, and just making sure that you're vetting whatever service that you're hiring, vetting that person out, because not everyone will do the right thing. And like I said, we're all human, and mistakes get made, and
it's what you do with those mistakes and how you overcome them and make it right. So.
Yeah, exactly. And it's things get moving fast, and mistakes will happen. That's inevitable. We've had situations where I remember one where there was a chimney stack coming out of the roof, and typically we paint all of our accessories that come out of the roof, and this one was a really nice stainless steel chimney stack that was coming out, and looked nice, and definitely shouldn't have been painted whatsoever, and it got painted, and so
mistakes happen.
Yep, that's right. And so we went back up there and scrubbed it all off and made sure everything was back to normal. It wasn't necessarily the most enjoyable experience, but hey, that's how we learn, and we definitely took it just upon ourselves to make sure that didn't happen again, obviously, and it won't happen again. But that's one of those things. That's a simple thing, but the homeowner wasn't very definitely wasn't impressed, to say the least, that happened, and I completely understand. There's nothing that I can say that is going to say any different. Should have been painted, and that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah,
so.
But being able to step in and actually do the right thing, that just probably brought that customer from giving you a 1-star, bringing you back to, okay, this was a good experience. They did the right thing, and they made it right. So that's
Yep. And then, I mean, there's other things. I mean, the countless examples, whether there's a product that maybe isn't even completely your fault, whether it's a product failure. Sometimes you can run into the warranty stuff and go that route. Sometimes it's not that big of a deal, and you should just fix it. And it'd be easy to blame the manufacturer, like, oh yeah, well, you're gonna have to work with the manufacturer on that because it's really not a me problem. That's not necessarily the right answer all the time. You need to take care of your customers, and if you can solve the problem, pretty minor, you're way better off doing that than just kind of telling the customer off that it's not my problem. That's a huge piece that definitely.
And we even had an experience kind of early on in our relationship building here as I did some decals on your vehicle, and the lamination just was not right, and it was coming off after a couple days, and he shot me a text, and of course I'm like bummed, like, shoot, that's not what I want. It's wrecking the customer experience, but like, hey, bring your vehicle back, we'll get it taken care of. A couple days later, we had the old decals off and the new ones on, and they're holding up good. But that whole customer experience can determine relationships, which we just talked about in the last one. If I would have just told you to kick rocks, we probably wouldn't have continued building our relationship. I made sure you got taken care of, things were done the proper way. Not really sure why the stuff happened or like how they were peeling off and stuff, but we just made sure we did the right thing and got things taken care of, and that's how you build your business, and one step at a time. So.
I mean, you're always building those relationships, like you said, and that's such a huge point, because you never know what that next relationship will be for you, and you never know what opportunities might come of that. And at the end of the day, if you do the right thing for people, you are going to be so much better off at the end of the day. There's times, I don't want to say don't worry about your financials ever, but there are definitely a lot of those times that if you just do the right thing, it will pay you back in the long run, and it's just so important for the customer experience and the whole thing, and it really comes full circle on that. So.
It really does. So. Yeah, that's kind of like the production side of things, just doing the right thing, really taking care of that customer, giving them the best experience possible. That'll lead to referrals, that'll lead to building relationships, that'll lead to them just having a good product that lasts a long time, so they're not coming back on you. That all stems from the customer experience, just doing the right thing, and just providing the best service you possibly can at all costs. So
yep. So is there any follow-up things on your end after you got the customer taken care of, they receive their shipment, everything's happening? Is there anything that you do at the end of that to make sure, or any follow-ups that you do, surveys?
I definitely would like to get better at like more automated like follow-ups and stuff, but anytime I know something is getting made for like a specific event or anything, I'll make sure I take the time out of the day, and I'll either shoot them a text message, something more personalized, and really ask them like how that went, because I genuinely do care. If someone has some shirts for a 5K or something, I ask them how the event went. Did you have a good turnout? We've made some apparel for people that do like commercials and stuff, like, hey, shoot the commercial over, I want to see what it looks like. Just building that relationship and that full customer experience, showing them that I'm there with them after the purchase. I'm not there just to collect the money and then move on. I'm there for the long haul. And that just all comes full circle. So
Yeah. And I think that you mentioned that personal touch is a big thing that's missing. This year we sent out Christmas cards to our people that, our customers that we had this past year, and simple handwritten messages. Not a lot, but I know I appreciate those. You don't see them anymore. Some people may get the cheesy ones where it's a printed, handwritten message.
Yep.
I hate that crap. I really do. That's just not
Yep.
something that I feel is very personable, and it's some automated message. So definitely taking that extra step to reach out to that person, whether it's text, whether it's a letter, whether it's just a follow-up, showing that you generally care, because
you do. Yeah, you do.
We
It's
do.
straight up
We
do like
And
that. It starts with that, and yeah.
So we've kind of talked about the full customer experience, from the lead intake to the estimating to the follow-up. What's something that you're going to lead into in 2025 to make sure that you're optimizing that customer experience?
One of the big things is kind of the website redesign, just making it a lot smoother of a way for them to really look at what we have to offer, kind of breaking down some of our top sellers, putting them in there, showcasing them, and then taking it a little bit further with actually doing an in-person photo shoot with those items, so they can see it, on me and some of my staff and some of our customers, and just showcase like really what that product looks like in real life, so they can get a better understanding. Everything fits different, everything stretches different, all the fabrics and different fits in that.
Mm-hmm.
So just making it a lot cleaner, easier way for them to really check out what we have to offer.
Sure.
That'll in turn make it easier on the back end of me having to explain everything. So it's a killing two birds with one stone. Yeah. So, making it easier for them to really take a look through what we can offer, and then also so I don't have to sit there and explain everything as well. Because I know our catalog is very overwhelming, because there's probably about 20,000 items on there.
Sure.
And unless you look at it every day, it all looks the same.
Yep.
So
knowing the different qualities too, I think it's important to give those different options more of a good, better, best type of a situation, because they're going to rely on you for your expertise on the quality of the shirt and really what they're looking for.
Exactly, and I want to provide the best possible solution every single time. So just making it a lot cleaner, easier way to kind of present that to customer, I think will in turn benefit both of us. So those are kind of some of the things I was looking at doing. Is there kind of anything that really stands out for what you're going to try and improve for the 2025 season for the customer experience?
Yeah, so I think on the better customer experience for 2025, a big thing that we're going to do is look at our suppliers and what products that we're offering to customers, to make sure that, of course, we're always trying to give the best quality materials, but really take that a step further to make sure that we can present those in such a way that people can visualize their home. So whether that's new siding colors and having the proper marketing material so that they can see that in their home and visualize that on their home. And so there's a lot of different tools that can be used to kind of impose that on their house, so we can take a picture. There's a lot of different programs out there that can take a picture of it, and then you can choose a color of siding and put that on there. And so people can really take a look at that. And
a lot more interactive.
Interactive, and we can change different things, right? So if you want to try a blue color siding and a green color siding, it's pretty easy to visualize. Sometimes it's very hard to pick it off of a little chip that's small. So definitely trying to engage that way with the customer experience, and then really kind of giving that good, better, best on our estimate presentations, so that people can fully understand what they're getting for products. Obviously, we always want the best scenario, but that also comes with a financial obligation, and sometimes that's just not reasonable, which is just fine. And we're never going to recommend a bad product. It's always great to see the higher end products going on. So
for sure, that kind of wraps up our episode on the customer experience. Going all the way from when they walk in the door all the way to when you have a finished product, and then what you do after that. It's really important taking care of your customers from the start all the way to the finish. That just kind of stems into everything we're about here at the American Dream Podcast.
Yeah, absolutely, and make sure you're getting those 5-star reviews. You should be. There shouldn't be anything that you should be doing less to get a 5-star review from someone. And if you don't feel like that you have, then you're not doing something right. So strive for that in every single job, every single project.
Heck yeah. So that kind of wraps everything up, and today's a good day for a good day.
Yes. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening.